Law enforcement investigates. Suspects remain unnamed, raising questions on the Nancy Guthrie case.
And law enforcement has not named any suspects or persons of interest. They also have not ruled anyone out publicly. All right. This is consistent with how agencies handle high profile abductions. They avoid clearing individuals unless absolutely necessary. All right. Now, could law enforcement be letting people visit the house to see who returns? Let's take a look at that. I'm going to get off of this, and we are going to, let's do this. Let's just take a look at, let's take a look back at what happened yesterday and then watch Tommaso and them walk up there in that clip that I showed you. But let's start with this. And then we'll get to the glove and
Guthrie's house. There's been some action today. First of all, there were some people that showed up that seemed like they were maybe doing some work on the house, locksmiths.
Sorry.
They were by the front door of the house. They were then at the back of the house. There's also these private searchers that have shown up with metal detectors going up and down the street outside Nancy's house. They said they were maybe looking for jewelry or a bracelet. So kind of interesting. They're still out here right now. The sheriff gave NBC News an interview. We've been asking for an interview, but he hasn't responded. But he did give NBC News an interview, said that he does not think it's a cold case, that he thinks they'll solve it. A lot of stuff he said previously. He said they're looking at hundreds of thousands of cars, which was kind of interesting when he was asked specifically about that new video from 2.5 miles away that came out last week. He said we're looking at that plus hundreds of thousands of other cars, which is a really big number.
Yeah, it doesn't sound legitimate, but it sounds like he's over exaggerating and like, hey, we're doing our job, right? And then remember the people back at the site and people closely watching them. What would they do that for?
And with the backpack, remember the backpack that they said was bought at Walmart? He's now saying that they're considering that it may, the suspect may have gotten it secondhand. So maybe he didn't actually buy it at Walmart, but bought it secondhand after someone else already bought it at Walmart. So that was kind of the update from his interview. I'll keep you guys posted with anything else that happens today.
That's why I'm not making y'all watch that interview because, well, it's just as boring as all the other ones. And there's not a lot to be deemed from him because he uses a language that, well, the way he speaks and what he says is not particularly commanding, nor is it, dominate. He kind of says, all right. Just quickly, I'm going to put this up. I'm not putting the volume because it's the Twilight Zone volume and it's really loud. And just to my point, and thank you, Carrie. Carrie put this together. And I was already thinking, can law enforcement be letting people visit the house to bait them? And standard investigative practices, investigators do monitor a victim's home or a crime scene to see if the suspect returns to the scene. They also can control access to the property. Well, they already messed that up to preserve the evidence. So in this case, the home has been treated as an active crime scene. And the first 48 hours were pretty botched, but the family has only been seen laying flowers outside. All right. Only outside. So let's just take a look at this. It's hard to unsee when you watch this, and I know they've been cleared, but this is Tommaso and Annie and Savannah putting the flowers down. Watch his walk and his walk. It's just, I can't unsee it. And I wish I could. Let's see if I can make it bigger. Hold on. Hopefully you guys have a big TV so you can see the walk, the way the legs are, the skinniness, the dragging, the hunching over. It's so, like, I can't unsee it, guys. Did anybody watch this? What's up, Saucy Skins? Good to see you. Did anyone take a look at this already? I had 2,100 views, but I mean, look at that. The way he bends down, the way he moves. Look at the legs spread apart, the dragging the feet. All right, if you guys, I'm going to just let it play for a second. Do you guys, even though they say that Tommaso was cleared, am I crazy and looking at the Tommaso, how he walks and how he moves? Does anyone else think that it looks similar? Annie and Tommaso gave weird vibes during this sobbing. I know, but look at the walk, look at the posture, I mean, everything about it has me freaked out. That's what I'm saying. Yes, Valerie. Yes, Jay. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. I hate that. Although I do appreciate you. Yeah, it's very close. Very close. Look, day 32, the inside fucking job. Oh no, yeah, definitely. I would not go with definitely I would definitely not say this is a Mexican drug cartel, because that's not how they roll. All right, anyway, you guys can go watch this. Thank you, Carrie. It has the Twilight Zone sound on it because, well, it feels like we're in the Twilight Zone. So let's get up to date, and then we're going to get into the evidence, the glove, the theories, and all of that, because it's just hard to stop. I can't stop thinking about this case, and I mean, rightfully so. It feels like our mother has been kidnapped.
Sheriff Chris Nano says that he is confident the Nancy Guthrie case will be solved. This comes 1 month after Guthrie was last seen.
12 News journalist Jade Cunningham has more on what he says about this investigation. And there were some other developments as well, Jade, today.
People hoping this case will have a resolution, including the Guthrie family and Sheriff Nano saying he is confident that that again would happen. Now, today, for the first time, we saw Savannah and her sister Annie outside their mom's home. And this is video from News Nation showing an emotional moment as the two, along with Savannah.
And again, they've been cleared, and I appreciate all of your honesty about this or that, or, that's what we're here for. We're just looking, we're just talking, and I am not pointing my fingers at them. It's just this case is like that. You see one person, you're like, damn, I can't get that out of my head. Well, you know why we also can't? Because nobody's formally been cleared. What happened to those people? They're out there giving interviews, and when the person that's interviewing them asks them what they talked about, they say nothing. But then they say that they contradict themselves a lot. So the perp in the front of the house is left-handed. They're also thinking that there's two. They're finally starting to go towards the theory that there are two people, which if we get through this first part, then I'll show you, because Nancy Grace just stopped her episode, and the last 35 minutes or so, man, there's some good stuff in there. My mom died last March, and her and Nancy were the same age. I can't even begin to know how terrible they must be feeling. Amen. And prayer for you, Laura. I mean, I don't even want to know how that feels. My mom is 71 years old, and I don't even want to go there. I don't want to think about it. Yeah, I think there was one perp in the front and one perp in the back being held. I know that, Liz, I'm telling you, this is wildest stuff. You can clear till it's solved. What kind of dumbass would clear anyone? Exactly. And that's why I loop back to this. All right, let's continue. We got a lot today.
Savannah's brother-in-law were seen carrying yellow flowers down Guthrie's driveway. They were walking arm in arm, taking a moment to look at the memorial that's just been growing near Guthrie's mailbox. People have been leaving letters, yellow flowers, and other items in honor of Nancy Guthrie with the hopes that she'd soon be found. And they too left their flowers before embracing each other. They did not talk to cameras, but shortly after, Savannah posted on Instagram saying, quote, "We feel the love and prayers from our neighbors, from the Tucson community, and from around the country. Please don't stop praying and hoping with us. Bring her home." Guthrie was reported missing February 1st. Families since have been hoping and praying for any sort of answers into her disappearance. Pima County Sheriff Chris Nano sat down with NBC News today to talk about the investigation. He says they are still combing through tips, photos, and surveillance, as well as.
And guys, they have a lot to comb through. So going back to their home office really does help them to have the tools they need to lighten the videos, darken the videos, isolate them. You know what I'm saying? All of that. So you say Savannah's a pro. She knows it's never too late. She's playing the role to get the guilty ones. Agreed. And she's playing the sympathetic role for sympathize with me, but I also sympathize with you. She's doing a great job at it, I gotta say. All right, yes, make your mothers proud. I lost my mom when I was 23. She was 42. Oh, way too soon. I'm sorry, Wolfpack. It's always too soon, right? Even if our moms get to 99, it's still too soon, in my opinion.
Looking at DNA, which he is hopeful will eventually identify a person of interest. And he was asked about how many investigators and people are working this case. Here's what he had to say.
This has always been the Pima County Sheriff's Department case, always has. But we know that we can't solve it by ourselves. So we utilize the media, we utilize our community.
I mean, this guy, every time you hear him talk, it's like he's having a pissing contest with FBI. It's the weirdest thing, but as long as this case gets solved and he's doing what he's supposed to now that the first 48 hours kind of got out of control, it's just hard to believe what he says.
In their response, we utilize other agencies, Border Patrol, FBI, and others. And so that's all this is. You really have to put your egos aside and say, hey, we're here to solve a crime. And so
I think he's telling himself, hey, you got to put your ego aside. Oh, my goodness. Tell yourself. Barney.
As to the total numbers, today it may be 20 people, it may be 10 people. But I know my homicide team and the FBI has a team that are dedicated to nothing but this case.
Well, the Guthrie family has also announced, if you remember, that $1 million reward for Guthrie's recovery. You can, again, report anonymously. All you have to do is just call 1-800-CALL-FBI. Troy.
All right, does anyone even want to see what happened to her thing now that you guys know and it's all spoiled? I knew that it got tore apart and it was a possibility that a car had hit it, but I thought, hey, why not watch? It's only a few minutes. JLR, of course, was on the scene.
JLR investigates. Day 31, where is Nancy Guthrie? Someone ran into this memorial. There was all types of flowers all over the road here. That's crazy because she has a memorial in front of her house, Nancy Guthrie, and people have been laying flowers, cards. And I came here this morning. I'm just going to put the last two over, but somebody like literally in there and ran it over, and all these flowers were all over the place this morning. It's crazy how someone ran into this. Maybe because they can't see because it's pitch black out.
It is pitch black, but guys, if you've been watching this, there's a bunch of crazies going out there.